when it came to that blueprint of building a roster, well, what kind of strategies did you have to when you first started looking for players?
You know, backtracking kind of on the last question too, I mean, building a staff was really important. I have assistants that have been with me for a long time, whether that's high school club, etc. So building that staff and then putting together a blueprint, kind of like you said, is something that we've kind of taken from a lot of our years of experience. We want to bring a fun, exciting brand of soccer. So a lot of the kids that we looked for would be big, strong, athletic, pacey kids that can, put a brand on the field that we feel good about, and everyone can look and say, that's blue gold soccer right there. So in recruiting, those were a lot of the key things that we looked for. And we've been very, very blessed that, through our staff, we've had a lot of success in like the club ranks, high school ranks. So getting a lot of those players that we know and have been with us. Some of our transfers have played for me back when they were like 12 years old. A huge core of this group came from one of the best teams in the Midwest, and they played together for quite a while. So we feel really excited that our blueprint and brand of soccer is going to be fun for all of our community.
Hi, Cooper. My name's Nick. I work for the ABC TV station in town. How excited are you to take the field today for day one, and why did you choose to be a part of this building process?
Question, but we are all excited to be here, every single one of us, because as the recruiting process happened for each of us individually, there was this sense of family that we were going to be seen here and that we were trying to develop into this new program. And that's one of the things that we were doing a lot yesterday, is doing a lot of team activities and being together and getting to know each other, such as going to dinner together, lunch, and today we got some team activities as well. And I think one of the biggest things that we're excited for is basically a lot of us have played together in separate teams, but coming together, everyone, it really is going to be exciting to see what we can do on and off the field, because not only we have really good, talented players, we also have really good people off the field as well. And I think that's one of the structures that we want for this program, is we want really good people, but we also want really good people off the field as well. And I think that's one of the things that's going to be really exciting this year, is to see how we develop as a program and as our structure, and see where we go and how far we go as well.
How exciting, this is Justice Cleveland from the NBC affiliate here. How exciting has it been to see the facilities that have been going up around the campus too, and knowing that you guys get a chance to kind of break those in?
I mean, nothing, you can't beat new. So all these new locker rooms and the new field and turf and everything, it's been amazing, because some of us, from where we were growing up, we didn't have a lot of these major facilities like we do here. And it's kind of that turning point and going to the next stepping stone for our soccer career. And it's crazy. I've never seen a facility as nice as this or as big as this. And I'm excited to use it to the most potential that it has, and to grow as a person and also as a player.
Casey, you mentioned building a schedule as as not in a league. How difficult was that? Do you expect that to be easier as you go along and you have some maybe pre-established relationships created here?
Yeah, building a schedule is definitely different. It's interesting. When you're in a conference, you have that like traditional Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, etc. type schedule. Being that it's a non-conference schedule, it's an independent schedule. You kind of have to, pick your moments, take games that are open, and try to fit some games that you think that you can do well in, and some other games that you really need to challenge yourself with as well, to make sure that your strength of schedule and your RPI is high enough to try to get an NCAA bid. So I think the first steps we took were like, what are some games that we really need? And then what are some games that we just need to fit around to make things work. So the challenge was also, keeping them in the Midwest, making sure that, we're not stretching ourselves where we're like at a 3, 4, 5 hour drive. But we feel fairly confident we have a quality enough schedule. We have maybe 2 back-to-backs. Otherwise, we kept things separate enough that we weren't pushing the kids too hard, especially being freshmen. We wanted to still have enough time to train and fix things and make sure that we had things the way we need going into each game. So in building that, we have a couple of exciting games right away. We go to Loris, which has been kind of a perennial powerhouse in the men's soccer realm for the last decade. So that's like game 2. We go to Hamlin. That's one of our first games in the Twin Cities, and that's kind of been like our hotbed in terms of recruiting. So that's good. We have a lot of kids that are going to come to that first opener. So hoping to capture a couple more recruits out of that. And then our first overnight or our only overnight of the year would be up at Concordia Moorhead. We have Concordia Moorhead and Nebraska Wesleyan. So that'll be a good team bonding experience right out of the gate, trying to get everyone together, doing stuff away, kind of brings kids a lot more together. So we're excited about that. We have the Platteville, the Superior, as well as Whitewater to kind of round out that WIAC type schedule.
Is it too early to think about the home opener and what that night's going to be like?
The home opener, I mean, it's pushed back a little bit. It's that September 14th. So we will have quite a few games under our belt, but knowing that, it's going to be under the lights here at Simpson Field, we're so excited about it. I know I haven't slept in probably a month, just, getting the chills for that fall under the lights excitement. And, the athletic office has been amazing. We keep talking about, bringing different people in, doing different, like promo type things, and I expect that we are going to have a lot of people there, and it's really exciting.
What would you say overall are some of the strengths you're bringing into this first season?
Well, I mean, I'm excited that our staff is built quite well. Like I mentioned, we have quite a few guys that have been with me that are, older. They have great club backgrounds. And then we also, I mean, very fortunate that we have a couple of younger guys that have, just recently been through it to kind of give back to the the guys on the team and making sure that they understand, roles, etc. So that part's exciting, but in terms of like our overall group, we've been really fortunate to collect a lot of quality players. A lot of colleagues are texting all the time, like, how did you get that kid? I thought he was going D1 and things like that. So the whole idea of coming into something new, playing time, and those personal relationships that we've had for a long time have helped build our current roster. So the excitement would revolve around, we want to build an attacking style, big, fast, strong, physical that can compete immediately. And we feel like we have, we do have 18-year-olds, but we have some 18-year-olds that look like 21-year-olds. So that's exciting to us.
I think it's challenge enough to start a program and start kind of building here, but you guys are also still dealing with some protocols. Obviously, it's a little more anxiety now than maybe we would have thought at the beginning of this year with COVID. I guess for both of you, what's it been like navigating that right now, in addition to kind of all the other challenges that come with this position?
I'll let you go first, I'll add on to it.
All right. So basically, with the whole COVID procedures and everything, we have to wear masks inside buildings, but as we're outside, we don't have to wear any. So that's going to be nice while we're training and everything. But we haven't had any scares with COVID yet so far, and knock on wood, but we don't want any this season, hopefully, because the previous seasons that a lot of us had, we all have encountered COVID experience with someone, and it's ruined someone's season or anything like that. And a lot of us don't want that complication with COVID, but it's still there, and we respect all the rules, and we follow them day by day. And as long as we follow them and are being safe, a lot of us, I feel like, are gonna really see a change in how we are as a team, because like I said, we are good players on the field, but we're also good people off the field as well. And that's one of the things that we want to stick by and build that structure with our program that we're having. So following the rules, it's not going to be a problem. And we're excited to still have a season and for it to be our first season. So, yeah.
So along those lines that Cooper said, we feel like the university's done a great job. They've put a lot of protocols in place and making sure that we're safe. Along those lines, in terms of vaccinations, the majority of our team is vaccinated already. So those will be really good things. I mean, we won't have to struggle or worry about that in any way. Obviously, the university's had testing for a long time, so those parts are taken care of. And kind of like Cooper said, we have really good kids. I want to say, I mean, yesterday we were in a lot of meetings and we put a lot of time in, and it can drag on. It can be a long day, but I remember looking around the room and I was talking with the coaching staff after. I was like, not one boy was on their cell phone. They were all glued in. They were paying attention. They're part of it. So, the kids that we brought in, we feel very confident in. They're bought in. They understand what we're looking for, and they want to be part of this. So I feel very good about what we have going forward.
Hey guys, my name is Evan Hong. I'm with News 18 in Eau Claire. I apologize if this has been asked already. I was having some technical issues, but I guess what are the goals and expectations for the year, just being a new program, maybe for you, Cooper, as an individual, and then for you, Coach, as a team?
For me as an individual, one of the biggest goals that I have is I really want to be a leader on the team. I've been a leader through my high school and my club growing up. And with this new sense of a new team and a new program, all of us want to be leaders. And that's one of the biggest things on the team is, like I said, we have all these good people, and being a leader on the team is definitely going to be one of my goals for this season. I really want to have people look up to me as an influencer and also as a good role model. And not only for kids on the team, people off the team. I want to be known around the campus, and I want people to look at me, and I want to have a good reputation behind that. And also, I want all of us to do really well. I don't want anyone to have any complications on the team. If there's an argument, I would rather settle it there and then than have it linger and cause drama within the team. Because like I said, we want to have this sense of family and structure within the team. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be striving for this season and the next 4 seasons that I have with Eau Claire.
So expectations, all those things. I mean, that comes down to the players, and we're building our expectations as we go. We got to see what we have in preseason. We as the coaching staff feel we have certain things, but things change day in, day out, week by week, as the season progresses and as their 4 years careers go. So our biggest pieces that we really want to establish is those culture pieces. A lot of what Cooper is just talking about. We want to make sure that we have good individuals on the field as well as off the field. We're influencing our community in a very positive way, and the rest kind of will fall into place in terms of expectations, how the season progresses, and what we want to do. I think everyone has the same expectation. We want to win, we want to do well, etc. But where that goes, we'll see. And the fun part is we're about to start that.
Anything else you think people should know about your team that we haven't talked about already?
Yeah, so some things that you guys should know would be that first home opener that everyone should come to. We feel as though it's going to be a ton of fun. Under the lights in the fall is, I don't know, it's my favorite time of the year. So if people can make it out, awesome. If not, watch the stream, enjoy it. We very much so, like we said the whole time, we plan to have a fun attacking style of soccer that people are going to be a little afraid of us, hopefully sooner than later, and make it fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a lot of fire in our system right now. There's a lot of excitement going around with this upcoming season, and I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for the whole team here. Is we want to come out and we want to compete, even though we're young. we want to compete to the highest level and show them that we really are here and we're staying. So yeah.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That'll wrap it up for men's soccer. We'll take a quick break as we switch sports. Next sport will be women's soccer with Coach Sean Yengo and Anna Kautzman.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Hoven, can you hear me?
Hey, sorry, guys. Was somebody calling for me?
Yeah, it's Nick. I was wondering what time I can come by soccer practice.
Coach Holm said 12:30 should work for you, Nick.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up, we have women's soccer with head coach Sean Yango and Anna Kautzman. The floor is open.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Evan Hong. I'm with News 18 here in Eau Claire. Good to see you guys today. Just wanted to first ask about the excitement level being back on campus.
Wow, I mean, can't get any higher. Just the energy, the body language, the look on their face. It's just, it's great to be back. Great to see familiar faces and new faces. Great to be out on a new turf field. And just excited to be working towards something other than just practicing.
Yeah, I want to ask, I guess, how was the long layoff for both of you? I mean, it's been so long since a game has been played. So, I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, it's been a struggle, honestly, to try and practice for almost 2 years without having a game. But that just makes this preseason like so much more exciting than any in the past. For me, I'm a fifth year, so it's like my last go, and that makes it special. Coming back and actually preparing for games makes it special. I'm excited. So.
As for me, the challenge would be the unknowns, right? I mean, with COVID and everything, there was just so many unknowns. You know, we get started and we had to stop. You know, we had a couple of scrimmages, but we just had a lot of unknowns, and it's just nice to be back close to normal. You know, practicing without a mask on, just the simple things like that. Being able to have proper team bonding activities. Just those are just things that help us to feel like we're back to normal almost.
Anna, it seems like a lot of athletes kind of across UW-Eau Claire sports have returned for that fifth year. I guess what kind of went into your decision to come back?
Yeah, definitely. So I live in a house with 3 other teammates, and all 4 of us are returning fifth years. That definitely played a role in it. We all said that if we lived on our own or if we weren't as close with each other, it would have been a harder decision to come back because we all had kind of made plans for after graduation and stuff. So that played into it. And I think the biggest thing that played into it was how our last season ended. We ended our last game to River Falls in the quarterfinal of the UWEC tournament, and none of us had planned on that happening at all. And so it was a really hard loss for the whole team. But then when COVID hit and everything, to think that that was going to be our last game of our whole soccer careers, just really didn't sit well with us. And we really wanted to push for one last season to, play for the university and the team that we love. So.
I guess, Anna, what did you and the other athletes try to do last year to stay in game shape, if you will?
We had practice in the fall, 3 days a week. And over the summer, there's a decent amount of us that live here. So we try and get together, play pickup games and stuff like that. We try and lift in groups in the summer and throughout the school year as well. It just keeps everybody motivated, everybody together, so that there's no stragglers, no one left behind. We have like soccer stuff all over our fridge, some like motivational things. And it's a lot easier to have a group of people that you live with or that you're close to, because if one of us was really slacking one week, or it's easy to get unmotivated when we haven't played a game in so long and it's kind of seems far off till we do. But I think we all did a really good job of picking each other up when we needed it and just like being a good support system for each other.
This is for both of you. Do you think it's going to be an emotional experience when you finally get out on that field for the first game again?
Definitely. I think there will be a good amount of tears this season from most of the fifth years. And I think I made a comment to one of my roommates this morning that this is the least nervous that I've been for a season, because there's nothing to lose. Like, this is the last, like, you put everything all out on the table, every single game, every practice, and that's it. So it's an exciting feeling. There's a little bit of nerves when it comes to thinking about, wow, this is the last everything. Definitely emotions flooding through. This is our last preseason, our last this, our last that. But for me, it's a lot more excitement right now. And during the season, a lot more excitement. But once it's done, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Sean, is it the same for you, that it's going to be, kind of an emotional year?
Yeah. I think I'm a pretty even-keeled type of person. I try not to allow my emotions to get rattled in either direction. But I don't know, the meeting we had yesterday to start, was definitely emotional for me. It just felt like it felt good. It felt good to be back. And, those are, you don't get those years back. And just so excited that I have 6 fifth-year seniors that want to come back for that experience, to end it the way they want to end it. And I just couldn't be more excited for that. So definitely emotions are going to be there, but at the end of the day, we're out there to win soccer games, and try not to let those emotions get in the way of that.
This could be for both of you. I mean, how much fun has it been watching the evolution of the facilities since you started here to now, with the Simpson Field being what it is?
Yeah, definitely. I was just talking to some freshmen today actually about how when I was a freshman, towers hadn't been renovated yet, so they got lucky because they get air conditioning. But we're so excited for the turf. That was like actually a part of our decision in staying, like a brand new turf field, and you got to play on it. So we're all excited to have games on it, and just Eau Claire is like blowing up as a campus, and we're so excited for what's to come too with all the plans and changes ahead.
Yeah, for me as a coach, I think it's the logistics are so much easier now that we're, right here on campus. I have to get into my car to drive to practice. I, walk out my door and here we are. All our facilities are in one spot. We have strength and conditioning, classroom sessions for film. We have athletic training in locker rooms. none of my players has ever had a locker room during their time here. So we actually have a locker in a locker room, a place to meet, unless you're an athlete, you don't quite understand what that means. And so, yeah, extremely excited for the facilities and even more excited for what's to come as well.
I'm sure it's kind of cool not being the only soccer team on campus now. What's it been like having the men's team now too?
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of interaction right now. We're both just trying to get after it. But we definitely are excited about having some back-to-back home games and just having both teams kind of be involved with each other's program. And nice to have another sport on campus that understands your sport as well. So yeah, I'm excited for Casey and the men's program and see them kick off their season.
I guess just general expectations for this year. I know, Anna, you mentioned that there's, we weren't happy with how the last year ended. It sounds like there's a bit of just trying to put that in the past and get past that point this year.
Yeah, definitely. Our team slogan last year was going to be unfinished business. And that's kind of what we feel like we still are coming back for. And we're all just really excited to get going and work for what we felt like we fell short of last time. So just thinking going into this season about how we're going to train different, how we're going to prepare differently for games and not let this season end like that one did. So we're trying to go out with a bang, a UWEC championship, hopefully.
Back at that one for sure. I feel like what COVID has done for us is, we take nothing for granted, right? We don't know when that last game is going to be. Who knows? We could have a pause in our season. We don't know that. So every time we step out on that field, it has to be as if this was the last game. And as we look back to that River Falls game, we ask ourselves, could I have done more? Could we have made that result different? And I think we all agree we could have done more. And so we want to put everything out on the table. We step out on the field, whether it's practice or a game, it's in our preparation for the season. It's all extremely important. Our standards have always been high. Our expectations have always been high. And I think we have a group this year that's ready to meet those expectations and those standards. So yeah, we're extremely excited about this season.
Coach, would you elaborate a little bit just based on, a bunch of these fifth-year seniors coming back, whether it's Anna Swaven, coming back in the net, Kitterman, Talbot, Ames, Anna herself, back on defense. How special is this group and how can they kind of take you to that next level?
Well, it is special. I mean, it's a big difference between a 17-year-old and a 23-year-old. And just that experience, being in the league, being a collegiate athlete, it's amazing. I would say we also are going to be competing against other teams that have fifth-year seniors as well. I feel like our conference is going to be stronger than it ever has been because of that. When you're competing against teams that have 4 or 5 fifth-year players back, that's a team that has a lot of maturity and a lot of experience. So we would be foolish to think that we're the only ones out there with that experience. But I would say with us, we have players that are coming back that have played a significant role in our program. And we definitely have a veteran team, and we're going to lean hard on that leadership as we move forward.
Speaking of leadership, Anna, how can you and your teammates help, these incoming freshmen and even the sophomores this year who weren't able to play matches? How can you help lift them up to make sure that everybody's game ready come September 1st?
Yeah, definitely. We've talked a lot about how it's almost like having 2 classes of freshmen coming in because there's 2 whole classes that haven't played in any games, and they make up more than half of our team. So I think the biggest thing during preseason is to, everybody's always nervous and like, they're excited, but like sometimes the nerves take over and they forget how to play soccer. And I think the most important thing is, as a freshman and a sophomore, is realizing like, I've been doing this my whole life. I know how to do this. I know how to play soccer. And once you kind of get in your groove, then great things are going to happen for you and the team. So I think the biggest role that we play is making sure that they're all comfortable and they all feel welcome, feel invited, feel like they can ask questions, and we create an environment that's going to make it possible for them to play their best soccer. And that way our team is going to play our best soccer.
Add to that, I love the traditions we have in our program, that we welcome in our new players and make them feel like this is their second home. And I've always felt when a player is confident and comfortable in the environment that they're competing in, they're going to perform at a higher level. They're going to trust their instincts. They're going to believe in themselves. They're going to trust their new coaches and their new teammates. So I think the traditions we have help with that. But like Anna said, it's a tough beginning for a first year player. There's a lot of changes in their life, a new team, a new coach. They're away from home for the first time. And so we keep a close eye on them and just making sure that we're doing all we can to help them feel like this is a safe place for them.
Anybody else got any questions? All right. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Anna. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a little bit of time here, everyone, before Coach Schwamberger and his cross-country athletes come in. So if you just sit tight, we'll get started momentarily. All right, we will resume for the 2021 Fall Sports Media Day. We will welcome on Coach Dan Schwamberger and Emma Drangstveit. Coach, you want to just start kind of just talking about what your expectations are for the senior season?
Yeah, just excited to be competing again. Obviously, last year, we were just able to practice and head track this past spring, which went well. We've got a good group returning on the women's side and the men's side. So really just kind of hopefully, focusing on the process so we can be ready to run our best come championship time, which is, conference, Luther, regionals, and nationals. So yeah, I know we start on Sunday, and I'm just excited to get going.
Obviously, for a lot of these fall teams, it's been a while. Might be a little bit different for cross country since there was track. I mean, do you sense it's a little bit different than it is for these other teams?
Yes, I think it is. I mean, it's a little bit more normal because we had, especially last year in outdoor track, we had a fairly normal season, especially, conference and last chance and nationals. So that's a nice segue in. So yeah, I think we do have a bit of an advantage over some of the other fall sports.
For you, Emma, you were the 2020 Judy Krukman Scholar Athletes. You placed second 2019 WIAC Championships. You personally, what are you looking for in this fifth year for you?
Yeah, this is kind of an exciting bonus season for me that I didn't expect to get. So yeah, it's just really exciting to come back and join the team again. Obviously, I have big goals for myself, but big goals for the team as well. We have, like Dan said, a really good group coming back. So I'm really excited just to work with the other ladies and have big goals as a team and individually. So yeah.
Do you kind of want to touch base, both of you, on kind of what are the goals for this year?
Go first for me.
You got it.
Well, so, I mean, obviously we didn't have the season last year, but based off track and 2019, in 2019, our women won conference. We were second at regionals and we finished 17th at nationals. So, I think, again, I mean, I haven't seen anyone yet. I'm hoping people trained over the summer, but I think, the goals will be to, do well at conference, get back to nationals, and hopefully perform our best there.
Yeah, definitely. All the years that I've been here at Eau Claire, we've been lucky to win conference, and that's just been a really exciting thing for us. So definitely going back to be defending champions again, hopefully in the WIAC. I've kind of seen some of the girls this summer and everyone's been training really hard. So I think we'll have a really good team and a really good chance at hopefully placing really well at regionals and then hopefully placing at nationals for sure.
Dan, how much does this maybe make your job a little easier having as many experienced athletes as you have to mix in with the newer ones that you have come in as well?
Yeah, I think, on the women's side, we've got 6 seniors or fifth years. In Emma's case, I count her in that 6. And on the guys' side, I think we have 8 individuals who are in their 4th year, 5th year, and that'll really help. It'll be a little bit interesting, like this upcoming week for preseason, we go up to Camp Manitou, and we didn't go there last year. And so half of our team hasn't been there before. So I'm glad we have a big group of returners going up there because they kind of know how that works, and it makes everything flow a little bit easier. But yeah, having the returners back is huge.
Emma, you mentioned getting that bonus year. I've been kind of surprised with how many 5th years have come back across all sports this year. I suppose what went into your decision to come back?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough. I actually graduated in the spring, but I'm here for grad school now for one of Eau Claire's programs for school psychology. So I was kind of lucky enough that I wanted to stay here and do their program here. I know some of the other 5th years who are coming back. Yeah, they were able to add on or just had injuries. So it worked out that they were able to come back for a 5th year. But yeah, that was kind of my big decision is once I chose my grad school, then I was just happy to be here and do another season.
I was happy too.
I'll quickly kind of touch, the cross country team, the track and field team. We're fortunate enough to have obviously you, Dan, but also head coach Chip Schneider for track and field. Very close knit with both teams. How much is the spring success of the track and field team going to kind of build over into this fall campaign for cross country on both sides, men's and women's?
I think Emma's a prime example. She competed at outdoor track nationals in the steeplechase. Anna Schuth was in the 800, and we had some people run really well at outdoor conference. Katie Ferris is coming back. She was the outdoor conference champ in the 5K and just missed going to nationals in the 10K. And Coach Schneider, Coach Schneider is one of my best friends. And I think his philosophy is very similar to my philosophy. We want to win, but we want to do it the right way. And it's all about, my goal as a coach is to make 3:30 every day like the best time, the highlight of our athletes' day. If I can do that and they enjoy working hard and it's a competitive group. Obviously, Emma and Katie are going to be battling it out this year, which is great. That's what we want. And if Emma beats Katie, she'll be happy for her and vice versa. But I think that type of environment it takes a lot of work, but I think, having Chip in track, and he's also helps me out. He's an assistant in cross country. I try not to, he's so busy in track. He helps us with all our home meet stuff. So he's still involved and he'll still stop by and do form technique with us. So I think having that close knit relationship between track and cross country is huge.
Yeah, so I feel like from what I've heard from other people and for myself too is however the spring goes, it kind of carries over to the fall then. Whether you had a good season and want to keep that going into the fall or didn't have as good of a season, a lot of people then have kind of some fire, some goals then for the fall. So definitely how we perform in the spring definitely makes a difference in the fall. And I agree too with like the close-knit group between track and cross country. Just overall, whether you're a distance person or sprinter or field athlete, we all kind of care about people's success. So even in the fall, the track athletes come to our home of meets and everything. And it's just a very supportive group. So I think no matter what, we want success between both groups. So having a lot of that success and close-knit group in the spring really carries over to the fall for sure.
Emma, you mentioned you think the women's team has a good chance at repeating for conference again. What about the men's side? Do we think that there's potential for a sweep in cross country in conference this year?
I think so. The conference on both sides is strong. I think, and especially on the men's side this year, we'll have UW Lacrosse, UW Whitewater. Stout has a good program, Oshkosh. So it's going to be a deep group. But yes, I think that's a realistic goal for both sides because Zach can answer that when he comes on. I think he'll have something to add because I know he's been running with the guys all summer, and I kind of let them, figure out the goals and then I help them get there. So, but yes, that would be awesome. And I think this would be my 15th year. I don't think, I'm trying to remember if we've ever had a sweep on both sides. Our women have won 9 years, our men have won 3 years, but I don't know if we ever overlap. So that would be a very good goal this year.
Definitely.
Any last minute questions for Emma? All right, we will then swap out. We'll have senior Zach Yengo from the men's side come on in. Yep. And yes, there is a relation with Coach Sean Yengo. It is his son. Zach, I'll start off just by asking, what are your expectations for this upcoming fall?
As a team, I think we're a really close-knit group and just have some fun for sure. We have a good group of seniors, good group of young talent, and I think that will help us late in the season and get back to that national stage where we missed out the last season for sure.
Zach, what's it been like for you to just be back to, hopefully we got a normal cross country season and after obviously missing out on last year?
Yeah, it's been great to be back with the guys. I took last fall semester off, and so I was a little bit away from the team, and then it was good to be back in the spring in track. And we've had a good group of guys stay here this summer to train, and it's been really fun. And yeah, just excited to be back this Sunday with everyone for sure.
You were talking a little earlier about kind of the difference between you guys and all the other fall sports athletes with having that track. I mean, do you feel like that makes it a little bit easier to get back in the swing of things as opposed to it having been, like 2 years since you were competing?
Yeah, definitely. For sure, it was a little hard in the spring to get back in the groove of training every day with class and just get into that routine, and getting used to it was definitely essential. And I think that'll definitely just help easy transition this fall for us.
Zach, obviously running something you can do on your own, but how much have you been chomping at the bit to, get back in competition? There's only so much you probably want to just, you love training on your own, but to get back there and test yourself against others.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the guys on this team, we love to compete, and I think that's what makes us really good. We compete like every day, training and in workouts, but yeah, it's just different with different competition and outside of your team. And yeah, it's been 2 years since we've competed against anyone on like a cross country course. So just to have that fire back and get back to that competition edge will be really fun this fall.
Zach, you mentioned it's been a couple years, obviously, since you competed. Is there anything that you can kind of carry over from that season into now, or is it, kind of too far in the past?
Yeah. So our last like real cross country race was at regionals, and we missed the cutoff to make to the national meet, and that definitely stung for a lot of us. And we've been kind of carrying that with us throughout last year and this summer. So I think it was hard at the time, but I think it's made us better. Last track season this summer, just really want to get back to that national stage. So I think even though that was 2 years ago, I think it's still helped us throughout this training.
Coach, you did mention practice does start, on Sunday. What's the first couple of weeks look like for you guys as you do get ready, to jump right into competition there in early September?
Yeah, to be honest, September, I'm not overly concerned with our race results. I mean, our focus is on running our best in November. And I mean, we're still, training is incredibly important. In racing, I mean, we're focusing on, race strategy and, staying in it mentally, getting used to the pain of racing again. I mean, not to de-emphasize the importance of the beginning of the season, but really our focus for the first month is just getting back into a good, consistent training routine. Zach mentioned classes. I mean, the first couple of weeks, it's it's a big adjustment. I mean, obviously the freshmen, but everyone, they haven't been in a busy class routine and everything's different. So really it's trying to get into a good routine. So when we get ready, so when we get to the end of October and beyond, we're in a good groove and we're confident and we know we're ready. So, yeah, the first few weeks is really, more about training, getting a couple races in, but again, in those races, we're focused more on executing certain race plans, and figuring out, I mean, with Zach, he's had a really good summer. So, his race strategy is going to be different than it was 2 years ago. So, I think the beginning of the season is almost kind of like a dress rehearsal to get ready for the main events at the end of the season. But one of the things when you're talking about this year too, we're really fortunate that we're going to be hosting the regional meet in November. So I think that is obviously a little bit of an advantage because our home course is great, but you got to run it smart. So I'm really excited to have, be hosting the North region. We're now in a new region. So I think that'll be exciting too. And conference is going to be at Whitetail Golf Course as well. So we'll have 3 opportunities to run that course, which definitely, I believe, plays to our advantage.
Zach, you might have heard, I asked Coach when Emma was up if it was a reasonable goal for a sweep between the men and the women to win conference. Just to hear from your perspective, do you think the same?
Yeah, I think what this team does really, really well is we try not to look at like the long-term objectives. We kind of take it day by day, practice by practice. And what Coach Dan kind of emphasizes is we can't really control what other teams do. If we do everything in our power, do everything right, smart, and race well, the outcomes will show. And it's been a while since the men's won conference, but I think it's definitely a reasonable goal for us and definitely make things exciting for sure.
Any other questions for Dan or Zach? All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Again, we'll take a quick short break. We'll have women's volleyball coming up here at the top of the hour.
Thank you.
right, we are going to continue the 2021 Fall Sports Media Day. We have women's volleyball up next with head coach Kim Wudi and senior Taylor Scalia. First off, ladies, thanks for joining us. Coach, expectations kind of just going into this year, just kind of an overview to start us off.
Yeah, wow. It feels amazing to be back in the gym and be getting ready for competition. As far as expectations, you know, we want to win every year, and our goal every season is to build and sustain a championship culture, and that's in the gym, in the classroom, in the community. And so those standards haven't changed. And we want to compete for championships. We're excited to be back, ready to do that.
Just for both of you, what was it like last year? I mean, how has this process been of just waiting to get back to competition?
Yeah, it was hard not being able to compete. And, you know, pretty much what our season consisted of is practicing pretty much, you know, all day without having any games. And that's tough, you know, it kind of is draining. And so being back here and, you know, being able to compete again is going to be just an unreal feeling. And we're really excited. So.
Yeah, I would just add that I think, you know, every one of the players on our team has that champion mentality, and they were recruited here for that reason. And so when you take very highly competitive people and you expect them to practice without competition, it was really difficult. And it was, you know, I think for all of us, I mean, myself included, there were certainly days where it was just like, you know, we actually really enjoy the grind most of the time. But last year without competition, it was difficult to enjoy the grind every single day. So we're just really excited to have things to look forward to as far as opponents to play.
Is it a little easier to appreciate that grind this year? You know what it's like not having the games to play?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Kim, how many fifth-year players do you have coming back, and how excited are you to have, you know, that extra experience with some of those players?
Oh gosh, that's hard to put into words. So I have three, Taylor, and then Kenzie Bachman and Kendra Byrel. All three of them, as well as some of our other seniors, they were part of that 2018 team that played in the Final Four. They were part of the 2019 team that won out the regular season to make it to the playoffs. And, you know, for those girls Taylor's like, yeah, like for those girls to not have their senior season that they had envisioned and that they had, had trained for and planned for, I think it was just, I think all three of them within, I don't even know if it was hours, but maybe days, they were like, we're coming back. We're coming back because they are three of the most competitive players that I've ever coached. And they want to win, and they want to win a championship. And, having been at that pinnacle, I think they couldn't leave the program, and they couldn't leave here without one more shot at that. So I'm so excited to have them back. I can't even tell you how excited I am that they're back.
Yeah.
And Taylor, from your perspective, could you kind of talk us through your decision to come back?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a really easy decision for me to come back. Getting your senior year taken away from you is just not something that was ever expected, and is kind of a hard thing to go through, but it never crossed my mind that I didn't want to come back. I'm a very competitive person, always have been. And yeah, it was just no question that I wanted to come back and play with the other two girls too that came back. And, we're ready to bring it home this year. So we're excited.
Do you think it'll take a little bit at the start of the season to kind of get back into rhythm? I mean, I'm sure everyone's going to be kind of dealing with the same sorts of things. Do you expect there to be any rust?
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about that today. There is going to be a little rust probably as far as getting back into the grind. Kim was saying in practice, we haven't, you probably haven't trained for 6 hours a day in quite a long time. And so, but, as far as getting back into it, we started with the right mindset 3 months ago at the beginning of summer. And so, we've been training all summer. So shout out to Zach Ruck, our trainer. He's a great trainer. He's got us prepared. And so we've been working hard. We've been physically working and mentally preparing for this season. And so we're ready. Just going to take a couple practices to get into it, but not nervous at all.
Yeah, we just came off of our first practice, and I've been doing this a long time, and it was the best first practice we've ever had. And part of that is, again, just the desire to be in the gym, and the just feeling like we missed out on so much, but also we started with some jump testing, and we had just about every returner, everybody PR'd on their jump, and that just we PR at the end of the season when we've been jumping and training for a couple months, and for them to PR at the beginning, we're gonna be in good shape. So we already are in good shape physically, but we're gonna be just fine.
Taylor, from a player perspective, was there kind of a full speed, no breaks as far as the off season goes? Is everybody kind of just giving it their all, kind of knowing, we're going to get what we put into it as far as training goes?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of just taking every opportunity and running with it. With COVID, you kind of realize that there is no guarantee. There is, no tomorrow as far as, everything's changing. And so we're just taking every opportunity and, giving it our best and going into the gym every day and using that to push us, not looking back and saying, COVID was such a damper on our last season and we didn't get to, have that time to compete and play, but more so using it as a, positive thing and saying, we're ready to get back out there and do that and play our hearts out and work hard. So.
You guys just had your first practice. I know you've only had one of them, but what are some of the strengths that you've seen maybe just in that practice and talking with the team so far?
Oh gosh. One of the things we've been working on for a year is really emphasizing, we've used the terms speed and space. And so really just, we have an incredibly athletic group, very versatile, where we have players who can play multiple positions, and we have experience. I mean, we have the majority of our team, they are seasoned, they are upperclassmen. And the crazy thing is we had, again, a lot of those players who were freshmen or sophomores when we made our run in 2018. And so just the athleticism in the gym, but also the focus. And I think that's one thing that did come out of last year, is just that we had so much time, and we worked really hard on that mental toughness. And even in the mental breakdowns that happened through COVID, and that happened a lot. I think it was a tough year. But I think all of that made us stronger and more just appreciative of the opportunities and even the training opportunities. So, today, it was the best first day because everybody was so focused and dialed in. It was really fun.
Kim, just looking at that first 2 weeks of your schedule, is that going to be a good test there to get you guys prepared for that once you get into WIAC play?
Well, you've been around long enough, Justice. You know that I don't shy away from playing tough teams. So once again, we have a gauntlet schedule. I mean, all the way through, even when we start conference, we come back and we play some pretty tough non-conference teams. But yeah, the first 2 weeks, we've been talking about this. Northwestern's our first match, and Northwestern essentially played 2 seasons last year. They played in the fall and then they played in the spring, and probably played, I don't even know, 40 plus matches last year. And we played exactly 0. So, that motivates us too, to make sure, we've talked about this. We have less than 2 weeks to get ready for a team that had a whole year of training and matches. And so we know they're a great team, and they're an NCAA qualifying team most years. And so we're going to be ready to go for that. But then, we turn around and play Wash U and, UT Dallas, and then St. Ben's, who knocked us out in 2019. So there's they keep coming. And you know what? I don't think we would have it any other way. We want to play the best teams in the country because we want to be the best team standing at the end. So I will never apologize for putting our team through a gauntlet, but it's definitely, from a training perspective, we have to be really focused on just training smart, recovery, making sure we have depth. I think that's another thing we've talked a lot about is just, on any given day, and especially, in a situation where you have, still have a pandemic that you're dealing with, that you don't know who you might need to count on day in and day out. So those are all the things that we've been talking about and working on for a year. So we're ready to roll.
I know we talked a little bit about expectations right at the beginning, but I guess for you, Taylor, what are your goals for the season, maybe as an individual player? And then for coach, what are your goals as coach for the team?
Yeah. So I think kind of like I was talking about earlier, just taking every opportunity to work hard and, taking it to its fullest and, using the time that we've lost and really capitalize on it and, realize what it's like to go back out there and play and compete. And, my goal is to just take advantage of every single day, take advantage of every single practice, go out there and, you never know when it's your last practice. Just like last year could have been my, last game, last practice. And I would have never known, if I wouldn't have been back. And so just going out there every day and just playing like it's the last is kind of my goals. And then as far as, the team, I think kind of the same thing too, just going out there and you never know if, tomorrow could change, with COVID, you never know, everything's changing every day. And so just going out there and playing every point like it's the last.
I think, the perspective that you hear Taylor have, I think that's the emotional maturity of our team. And, just really, that's been something we've been really young and very, take it for granted kind of, and I think that's what has changed in the gym. And I think that's a sign of also having upperclassmen as leaders, but also having gone through what we've all gone through. And, the saying we are in it together, I think that's my goal for the season. Obviously we've got, performance goals, but I just want us to stick together and, whoever is on the court on any given day, whatever our situation we're dealing with, I want us to be a team through and through. We talked about it last night at our first meeting that, being the first, we before me, and just making sure that we support each other and stick together no matter what. There's going to be hard things that happen to every one of us, and just making sure that we are in each other's corner all the time.
No regrets. Lay it all out there.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Kim or Taylor? All right. Thank you, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to return and continue things with our 2021 Fall Sports Media Day. And I'd like to welcome Athletic Director Dan Schumacher.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Dan, I guess we'll kind of just start off with being back. I know we've talked about this a little bit, being back with fall sports. I know how, how much you felt the pain of these athletes last year. Just how rewarding is it that we're getting the chance to see many of them get back on the field?
I mean, I think Taylor said it best. I mean, it's the truth. Every day changes. This has been a year and a half of just constant change. And every time I think I know the answers to the questions, they change the questions. And it's hard. It was hard to watch this past year. It was a drain on our staff. It was a drain on the athletes, trying to balance life with the COVID and online schooling and lack of interaction with teammates. It did wear and tear on everybody. It wore and tear on me, just trying like hell every day to find a way to get back to competition and work within the safety of the science that would allow us to compete. We got some things done in the winter and spring. We didn't have championships like in the winter that we wanted, but we did have spring. So it was good signs. But I'm optimistic that we're going to play. I'm just think over the next 2-3 weeks, some other things are going to play out with this pandemic, and it could affect us. It could affect fans. It could affect us playing, things like that. So again, change has always been the main topic right now. And how do you handle change and how do you rise above it? I do believe that our student athletes have done an excellent job doing that, along with our coaches, even though we've had a lot of campfire meetings on Zoom just to try to keep mental health. So I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I think we have a very strong fall sports lineup. That includes a new sport of men's soccer. I think Casey is a seasoned coaching veteran who's recruited a lot of quality student athletes and good athletes as well. I've watched them practice in some of their game film from when they were in high school and did my own due diligence on that. I'm really excited about our football program, Kim Wudi was just up here, outstanding work, and such a strong volleyball team. And of course, Dan Schwamberger, National Coach of the Year, has won a national championship. He's going to have both squads strong. I'm looking, if we didn't have that first year in COVID, the year before we took 10th place in the Directors Cup. That's the highest ranked public institution in the country. We're out of all Division III schools, and we were the highest ranked UWEC school. If we would have been able to play out the rest of that year after that, if hockeys would have done what they were going to do in wrestling and swimming and indoor track and outdoor track and all the sports were so strong, softball, we might have been a top 5 program. And that's what I'm looking at. And I think we got a chance to do something special. And I will tell you, I know you guys have asked some questions to the athletes about the facilities. I've said it since day one, there is no scholarships here. So facilities do matter. And that facility out there that we're constantly evolving, and we've got other phases to this project that everybody's excited about, is going to attract even better and bigger and smarter student athletes. So facilities do matter. And we're trying to get with the Joneses and, the Whitewaters of the world that have the best facilities, Oshkosh, lacrosse. They do things well because they have a chance to attract students that want to have that shiny new penny, want that beautiful locker room. I'm happy for our soccer team. Sean said it, he has to get in his car and drive. Now he doesn't. He walks right out of his office and walks right out into the game field, the practice field. Same with the student athletes. So that makes a big difference in the experience of a student athlete here at UW-Eau Claire.
Well, where do things stand when it comes to just protocols for people going to the games and for athletes?
Right now there isn't any restrictions. I'm not going to kid myself that something couldn't come about before September 4th. I think as we enter the volleyball season, we're going to be masking up inside. That's part of the mandate here on campus. and we'll continue to honor that, especially, but there has been no talk of restricting spectators at this time. At the same time, and I made my staff and I just talked about this yesterday, I have no desire to be a policeman either. I have no desire to be sitting at Carson Park checking vaccination cards or a negative test for COVID within 48 hours. I just don't know if that's our place. But they're doing it like now. I'm a concert goer, and all the major concerts across the country, outdoor concerts, are making people that can't come in unless they've been vaccinated or have a negative test. So that's a trickle down effect. I think the Madison decision this week had some bearing, and was asked some pertinent questions this week by the media on that. But I'm just going to take it day by day, listen to what the experts, the science says, and whatever the county and the city decide, we'll just have to roll with it. But right now we have no fan restrictions whatsoever other than masking inside.
Do you know what the vaccination rate looks like for student athletes?
I won't know those statistics probably till early next week, because I know footballs, we're over 85%. I think we're going to actually raise that number a little bit. Volleyball just reported, soccer's just reported. They're going through their physicals. They're going through all the documentation, their NCAA compliance meetings, to a certain extent, EDI recognition and discussions with each team we're having. And then by the next week, we should have a good idea on where we are vaccination wise with all those fall sports. And I will be reporting those back to the chancellor and the leadership team here at the university. I know the county would like to know too, but I think football has done a great job with leading the way. 85%. That's huge. I think we do have a couple of medical exceptions to this, but most often enough, we're trying to educate the student athletes for them to make the best decision and to protect their season.
Dan, we talked with Coach Beschorner last week, and I believe he said that getting vaccinated was a competitive advantage. Do you feel the same about that?
I do. I like to tell anybody, go get vaccinated. I'm not going to argue the fact is that vaccinated people don't get sick. Yeah, you're seeing cases, but they're not in the hospital. Again, constantly follow the science, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's I'm not going to impose personal, political, anything regarding this pandemic on our student athletes. They're 18 to 22-year-olds. They got to make up their mind, but we want to give them the best scientific information, what our athletic trainers are saying, what the CDC is saying, even UW system weighs in on it. Give them the best information to make the best choices. But with 85% vaccination, you can consider those type of numbers of herd immunity for a football program, maybe, or protective, some safe harbor that we're not going to get shut down as a football program. Because right now, the UWEC, we're looking at policy that, unlike during the pandemic, if you were shut down, our men's basketball team last year missed the conference tournament because of the rules regarding testing and the positive tests, and they have to quarantine. And there were no contests. This year, if your team is shut down and you're playing a conference opponent, it's considered a forfeit now, because the science is there, the vaccinations are there. It's at their disposal to protect their teams and the individuals. So there's going to be some penalty if you don't, from a team standpoint, from a competitive standpoint. And that's where I think Coach Beschorner was coming from, is that if we're fully vaccinated, it protects us to have a season. And if other teams are not fully vaccinated and they have to get shut down, that could become a competitive advantage from a win-loss standpoint.
Dan, how for you to have as many fifth-year players come back and want to play that last season, does it speak volumes to what you guys have done as a program and these coaches have done?
Yeah, I think you hit it right there. It's the coaches. It's they have the day-to-day relationships with these young people. They work with them day in, day out about academics, personal life, mental wellness, physical wellness, training, the game itself. They're the ones who have such the high touch That's why we have great retention rates, Justice. I mean, we're sitting at about 87% of when an athlete comes to Eau Claire, we're at an 87% retention rate right now. That's higher than the regular student body. And when you have those high retention rates, that means they're having a good experience here. They're doing well academically. They're on their progress towards degree. And for fifth-year seniors to make things work, like a Mr. Yengo, who took the fall off, those were NCAA purposes from a compliance standpoint to regain eligibility. There's certain games you play with credit hours to become eligible, or to sit out a season to gain a season back. That shows you how committed they are to their sport, and that they want to finish it. They want to finish their career. And that says volumes about the character of those individuals that have come back and paid their own way. I think Emma said she's taking graduate classes, so she's paying extra money. Now it works out in her academic backfield or background. That was her next choice anyways, is to go to grad school. But now it works out where she can do both. Another power of and situation, grad school and playing athletics. So I'm impressed with the decision-making process of those fifth-year people, and the commitment to the institution and commitment to the athletic department and their coaches.
When it comes to the NCAA stuff for the fifth years, I just want to make sure that I've got it right. So I know the NCAA had talked about granting everyone just the extra year. Is that just D1, or is that you guys too?
It's us.
Okay, it's us.
All of our athletes got an extra year. They had to fill out some paperwork, work with Amanda Hopkins, our NCAA compliance director, and they were allowed to declare that they were going to come back for their fifth year, and their eligibility was extended through the eligibility center of the NCAA.
You mentioned the kind of fact that this is still an evolving situation when it comes to COVID and this year. I mean, just how difficult it is to deal with that. Like you kind of mentioned, like we're back, but at the same time, things can change so quickly. I'm guessing it's something kind of day by day you continue to monitor.
We do. We had good signs that the unvaccinated student athletes for football have to test more than they tested during the pandemic before the vaccination. When we were doing before the vaccination, we were testing athletes three days a week, and that kind of slowed down when the vaccinations came into play in the spring. But right now, our student athletes on the football team, the ones that are not vaccinated, are getting tested every 3 days, and they've been all negative, and so they've been here. They're on their second week being here, so. I think, again, just like we did when I used the statistics with you, Jack, before, we administered close to 15,000 antigen tests for our student athletes since January 8th. And I think we only had 40 positives. 15,000 tests. We have the largest athletic department in the whole state, 25 sports, over 800 athletes. And that's how serious the student athletes took their eligibility, took the chance to play. That they did all the right things. They masked, they listened to the science. There was a hiccup or two, but when you look at that proportion, I mean, that's less than 1% of a positive rate. When you have all those student athletes being tested from winter through spring, and that includes our fall sports that were competing in the spring, just practices, but still had to follow the same rules as a track athlete that was competing in track. So it's a tribute to the student athletes and what they've done. I'm such a special group of kids, and I call them kids because, like I said, I got 3 kids that are all been in college and out. So I just love the leadership, the passion, and the dedication, and how just intelligent that they've gone about their business in handling this pandemic, and it's continuing right now.
For the testing of the unvaccinated, is it a different amount per sport, or do you think that 3 times a week is going to be standard?
That rule has changed. It's for everybody. So as soon as we have organized team activities for basketball, say in mid-October, those rules, if they're still around, the unvaccinated student athletes will have to be tested 3 days a week. I think as an institution, the university is going to be moving towards some kind of testing protocols for all students that are non-vaccinated. And I got a feeling that Those type of decisions are going to be made very quickly here before the student body comes to campus beginning of September.
Any other questions for Dan? All right, thank you, Dan.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, one more sport to go. We will have head coach Wesley Beschorner and 2 football athletes coming at right around 12:40. So if you stick with us just for a little bit, we'll wrap up here close to 1. Thanks, guys. All right, welcome back everybody to 2021 Fall Sports Media Day. We are finishing up here with football. We have head coach Wesley Beschorner, senior Austin Belot, and senior Vic Martinelli. I will open the floor to questions.
Hey, Coach. Last week we talked to you before your first practice. Just want to ask how it's been going over the last week or so.
It's been going really good. Just watching these two guys play and watch them get better. We're getting better every single day. There's no doubt. And there's a lot of competition at different spots, which has been fun. The depth chart's changing on a daily basis. And I think that means that we have some quality players on the team. And we're just going to continue to see if we can create depth at certain positions. But as far as just practice, it's been really good. We've, being up here on Simpson's been excellent. Simpson Field here on Claremont. So that's been, it's been an added bonus, I should say.
Coach, what are some of the early strengths you've started to see?
One more time, I didn't quite hear that.
Some of the strengths you started to see so far out of the team.
The strengths? Yeah, just personnel. Just personnel, especially like these two guys, right? Having these guys back has been great. That 2 years into it, not playing a game, but really getting back and being around all the guys, I think has been, that's been fun. The continuity of players has been probably another big strength. And, just, yeah, those guys being around each other.
For Austin and Vic, I know obviously you got to practice last year, but is there a different feeling practicing, knowing you're actually preparing for games again?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, football, we've been working at it, but the end goal is far in sight, at least last year was, but now it's fresh, it's here, it's right in front of our face. We're working something coming up pretty close here. So it's really exciting to actually have it coming up close, and it's just exciting to have something to work for or closer coming towards you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just to add on, I think just kind of being so close to this season now, and with COVID, it just really instilled that childhood like reason why you love to play the game. And for me, just remembering that, it's really a driving force to this season, and being able to just go out there and have fun and just put it all out there.
It seems like it's a pretty incredible group of guys coming back for a fifth year. And there's a real, obviously, belief in this program. As for Austin and Vic, I mean, what does that say to you about the way this team is looked upon, and just for you guys individually, what kind of went into that decision?
Well, it's I mean, I've been around this program for a while, and I love this program. I love everything about it. I love being blue gold. So, I mean, there's not any doubt in my mind coming back here. I love these guys. We work really hard day in, day out. We mentally were there, physically we're there. Practice, we're just refining everything, and there's just no doubt in my mind. I was excited to be back. I just knew we had something special, and we just had to keep growing. And we keep growing.
I think the leaders on the team really had ample time to get together and really talk about our goals, our strengths, and where we want to take the program in this off time, and having that uncertainty of the future. And I think we really took the step in the right direction in the off season, and I'm just really excited for how that's going to play out this season.
Obviously, Wesley, for you, how much of that is an advantage to have that kind of experience coming back for you?
One more time.
Who was that?
How much of an advantage is it having that experience coming back for you, especially when you're trying to get things ready for the regular season here?
I'll take that one. Yeah, I mean, just having all the guys come back that we've had come back, right? Just on what we're building on, and seeing how guys can build upon certain layers throughout the program, which has been really good, and just instilling trust in one another is a huge deal, whether it's special teams, offense, or defense. Trusting your buddy, trusting maybe it's a guy that comes in, he was a second teamer. That just talking about creating depth, and if Austin doesn't carry it 25 times a game, seeing if we can have somebody else come in here and carry it 10 or 15 times, Vic coming in here, making 25 tackles a game, getting somebody in there. So, and that's been probably the most fun just to watch these guys. It's a player's game. It'll always be a player's game. And these guys have done a really good job of taking a hold of taking it and grabbing a hold of this team. And that's what I'm excited about.
Vic, how helpful was it to have a full year to work in a new defense, work with a new defensive coordinator, to have more time to prepare for the season?
The change was something fresh, so having that year was honestly really helpful. I mean, not ideal to not be able to play ball, but kind of ideal to get the system in my mind, get a little practice with it, just get some reassurance that I can play well in this system. We can play well in this system. And it was great. It was recruiting class, didn't really have the experience of like a fall camp last year. Just everything was all of sorts, just obviously with the pandemic, but building those guys was something we really focused on, building everybody, the younger guys coming in, just kind of leading them, showing them how things would be done. It was nice. It was nice to really build that all together. We got some development with younger guys, development with older guys. It got to really focus in on the new scheme, new defensive coordinator, just everything in general. It was really helpful, very helpful.
Austin, I know when we talked to Wesley last week, he kind of mentioned that you guys weren't happy with how things ended last go around. I remember you had dealt with some injury towards the end. I mean, is there a motivation to kind of get back and get things back on track after that? That you guys showed real promise early on, but maybe left with a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth.
You cut out there a little bit in the middle.
Can you hear me?
Just a little bit of it.
Yeah. I know Coach had mentioned when we talked to him last, the team had a little bit of a bad taste in its mouth with how things ended last year. And I remember you dealt with a little bit of injury then. I mean, is that something that you sense that there's a real focus on kind of getting things back on track after the way it ended?
I mean, I think just coming out of that season and then having the gap year kind of just the ability to get the whole team back to 100% and realign our goals in the right direction, and just using that kind of bad taste as a driving force for this next season. It's always going to be in the back of your head, but you just gotta keep driving, and it just brings on new energy for the future.
Wesley, how much of a deep dive did you do into that first season? Obviously, you had a lot of time to look at everything. Was it something that you kind of maybe had to stop after a while, just because you might, drive yourself crazy looking at everything, or what did you do?
It did not drive me crazy. A lot of other things drive me crazy, so not that. We wanted to come back, and we have something to prove. And I think whether you're 10-0 or you're 0-10 or you're somewhere in the middle, right? I think you have to have something to prove. And our guys are working every single day to be the best blue gold football team they can be. And it's our job to do that as coaches. It's their job to do that as players. And I think that, like I said earlier, they've done such a good job, fantastic job of really grabbing their hands around this program like I haven't seen before. So we've still got to get better. That's why they still give us these practices. We still have to get better before we play Luther. We still have to get better tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And we're going to. We're not going to slow down. We're going to keep going. And sure, that's going to be in the back of our mind. But that tomorrow is tomorrow. We're going to focus on what we can do tomorrow. And we had practice today. Really good job. It was nice and hot. So it helped us out. I lost some weight. Anyway, we're going to continue to focus and just getting better every single day. And I think play by play, we will.
Let's kind of go off of Jack and Justice's questions. You mentioned, it wasn't where you wanted to be record wise, but you guys did have some statement wins in 2019. What kinds of things can you take away from that season and build upon performance wise this year?
Oh man, so many things. That's what's great about football. It's so much like life. You're going to have failures in life. We all know that. And you take those failures and you learn from them. And I think our guys have done a really good job. And we have to do a great job during practice throughout the week of understanding those things. And I think our guys are doing that. Certainly for the positives, right? Which is great. They need to understand, like, okay, they need to reaffirm that. We talk about burn it in the back of your brain, burn that play in the back of your brain. That is great. And then if you make a mistake, take it off the tape, knock it off your shoulder, whatever it is. And if we can do those things really, really quickly, collectively, we're going to give ourselves a great shot in every single game. And really, that's all you can ask for. But I'm confident. I'm very, very confident in our kids. And I think they're confident in each other because so many kids did come back. So many kids are, coming back to work together as a team and ultimately fulfill our dreams and goals.
For Austin and Vic, I know Wesley mentioned when we talked to him that a lot of the players are like 2 years older, 2 years bigger and stronger. Is that something that you guys feel about yourselves that you come back, maybe much improved even without that?
I'm like dwarf right now.
Yeah. You guys feel bigger and stronger?
Yes, I do. I feel a lot more prepared. Honestly, my body feels amazing. It's been 2 years since I played ball, so a lot of time to recover. Well, at least 2 years since we've gone having a full schedule. So feel good, feel really good. Definitely a lot stronger, a lot of development. The guys really bought in, helped each other out, helped each other develop. Definitely a lot stronger.
I think I got to take an extra leap forward in recovery and just being able to be fresh right now in this season. And I think this is really going to help just mentally too. And just being able to go out there fresh and play and have fun. Like with everybody, just everybody got to take that step. So it's nice to see that.
Vic, you mentioned it earlier, you wouldn't want to be any other place. You love being a blue and gold. For Coach and for Austin and Vic, how has the addition of Simpson Field and facilities around kind of helped in the past couple of years and get you guys to that next level?
Oh man, well, I've been waiting for that field for a while. So I didn't think I'd get it, but I'm glad I did. It's the convenience is I don't even know how to explain how amazing it is for us to be able to go in and get out instead of traveling to Carson. Is just a lot more to work around, a lot more obstacles that you don't really want to deal with as a team. So it's just easy to have that access right out back, right quick, get that working, quick, come get your therapy. It really improves the whole process, just the whole system. It really helps with everything we're working for. So
I think hearing how the steps that were taken to be able to have that field and the amount of support that Blue Gold football had from our community and alumni, it really goes far and it really touches you in the heart that we have that much support as a team. And it really shows you.
Definitely. That's I agree with that 100%. That is very important.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. Great, right? We've had guys, we had Lee Weigel the other day. We had Tom Peralt out on practice. Those guys have won conference championships, All-Americans. They come out there and those guys have donated some money and have allowed us to do what we're doing. And that's been probably one of the biggest, like they're saying, it touches you right here. You're like, holy smokes, people care about this place. And we care about it as much as we care about it, because we're right in it. There's other people that are outside, whether they're in Eau Claire, Altoona, Chippewa Valley, they care about it just as much as we do. And it's our job to make this right here. It's our job to make that great. And whatever it takes, if it's Simpson Field or we're going to play at Carson, and it's our job. It's our job to make those people proud.
It's very inspiring as well. Have those guys come out, still have the passion for the game, have the passion for these colors, blue and gold. It's just days get hard, days get long. That's football, but see those guys still supporting with a smile every time. It gives you that extra boost. It really puts a smile on my face. That's for sure.
Obviously, one of the best parts about your guys' season are the fans and the band at Carson Park and the atmosphere there. I guess what's the excitement level like heading into September 4th, being back there and What kinds of emotions do you guys think you'll feel when you walk out there for the first time?
I can't wait to hear that band play. Honestly, running out of the tunnel and hearing that roar of everybody just going crazy, it's going to be exciting. It's something I've waited a long time for, and it's making me really excited right now. Now my blood's pumping.
There we go.
Yeah, those are the moments you dream about. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I've had several dreams just being on Carson. Nothing too special, but it's literally, those are my dreams. I'm just sitting on the field where I want to be, playing ball, loving the game. I don't know, it just makes me happy. It's my heart full.